Better late than never. Let's go ahead and get started. Good afternoon, at least afternoon Eastern time, and welcome to first session of Rolling Solo Campaign 3. The adventures of a witch and a warlock in the land of Bainwet. I'm Paul. I'm your Dagger Master, Game Master, and all the players for this solo Daggerheart adventuring channel. Gosh, that's about it. Okay. So with that out of the way, let's get started. So our campaign that we want to get with this time is playing Daggerheart. For this campaign, I wanted to bring in the Witherwild. It is one of the campaign frames that has been released with Daggerheart, and is the campaign frame that is available in the source reference document. If anyone didn't see that, I would put it on the screen, except I don't really know how to do live typing in OBS. I'm sure there's a way. If there is, I don't know what it is. So let's introduce our setting. Had this a little bit more ready. Don't appear to have the SRD up. Yeah, okay. That's okay because you have Witherwild here on PDF. So, basic pitch of the Witherwild is that we have two lands. We have the land of we have press something here. There we go. I don't know how well you can see that, but we have the Witherwild, which is composed of this area, Haven, this area, Bainwet. And this area, Haven, is a walled city that is, as in centuries or years past or decades past, it's not really clear, they have murdered a god, one of the small gods, known as Shunash the Granite Ophid, and carved their city out from the bones of their god. And having done this, this has caused the populace to fall victim to a disease known as the Serpent's Sickness. And the Serpent's Sickness is this disease that causes people to have their skin become roughened, their movements slowed, till eventually they die in horrifying agony, are left as stone statues for everyone to enjoy the visage of. So this is, of course, terrifying and awful, and the people of Haven would very much like for this to stop. And the thing that makes this stop is they have found that the rare red flower called the Crimson Lady's Veil. So the flower is the Lady's Veil. The red flower is the Crimson Lady. And the red flowers only grow like 1 out of 10,000 blossoms. So in order to promote the growth of these blossoms, the good people of Haven plunged into the deep wood of Fainwick and plucked the reaping eye from the powerful faint divinity known as the Great Owl Nikta, the shepherd of the seasons, who has a sowing eye and a reaping eye. They plucked her reaping eye, and with her reaping eye removed and only the sowing eye available, a time of endless spring has come across the land, Fainwick. This endless spring has evolved into a scourge known as the Witherwild, which is why we have the name of the campaign frame. And the Witherwild is animals swell to massive size. This is reading from the overview section of the SRD. The scourge evolves as the animals swell to massive size, trees warp, twist, and begin to hunt people, and vines creep along the forest floor, strangling. So this is the thing that is happening in the land at this time. Our heroes, or at least our characters, are, for this campaign, going to be a pair of twins. So I'm playing solo, but I'm going to play 2 characters. We have Soot and Shade, who I streamed a session 0 yesterday and built these characters. Soot and Shade are Hearthborn, and Hearthborn is one of the new communities that is available on the Void, which is kind of the Daggerheart beta site. And the Witch and Warlock classes are also test classes, so we're going to be testing out the community and the classes. They are lagomorphs, which is a it's a multi-species or combined origins heritage that I have created. That it's a new ancestry, which is combining the fawn and elf ancestries. So we're taking the Caprine Leap from the fawn, where they can leap anywhere in close range, and we're taking the Celestial Trance from the elf, so that we can take an extra move in downtime, because downtime move economy is really hard with a single character. Is one thing I found out running my last solo camp, Daggerheart. That, well, you tend to be kind of at your wit's end. And so Soot, he is a witch. Shade, she is a warlock. They are twins from a small village, the name of which I don't have. So let's start with that. We'll say they are from the small village of Low Passage. We will put that on our map. Let's put that on our map somewhere in the somewhere around here. Our passage, our town of Low Passage. And they have... So they're from the woods. They're not from the boggy areas where the Witherwild, where the fields of these blooms are being, Lady's Veil are being distributed. They're kind of backwoods kids who have decided on a life of adventure. They have decided that they are going to go out into the world and make a difference, as it were. So, that's enough introduction. Let's look at our inciting. Here's the SRD. One second here. Adversaries down. There we go. All right. So here is the inciting incident from the SRD. The Reaping Eye is stowed in a secure vault beneath the central tower of Haven's Wizarding School, seemingly impossible to recover. A secretive and dangerous rebel group, led by a mysterious figure known only as the Fane Wraith, see her, has hatched a plan to end the curse of the Witherwild, find the great owl Nikta, and pluck out the Sowing Eye. While this may solve the immediate problem, the long-term consequences are not being considered, just as they weren't when Haven invaded. Haven's beleaguered spymaster, Creel Dern, he/him, is not a popular person in Haven. He is responsible for rooting out insurgents, stopping schemes before they have a chance to start, and keeping a close watch on Haven's internal activities. He is a spook. Sidebar, he's a spook. Creel has never agreed, and at least not openly, with Archmaid Phylax's, they-them, decision to steal the Reaping Eye, and the consequences they've all paid for that decision has been grimly devastating. Recently, Creel uncovered the Fane Wraith's plot and is horrified by the possibility of her success. Knowing he can't send a troop of Haven soldiers deep into the woods to hunt down and stop the Fane Wraith from stealing the Sowing Eye, Creel uses his vast network of informants and spies to find a group of adventurers who can bring the Fane Wraith to swift justice. The party has sent an invitation from Haven to meet with Creel, but is his information correct? Does he have his own motivation or secret ambition? Whether they come from Fanewick or Haven, the party must extend some trust to a person who is equally as dangerous and mercurial as the enemy they pursue. And what will they do when they find the Fane Wraith? Bring her to justice, side with her, attempt to recover the Reaping Eye? Creel advises the party to start their hunt for the Fane Wraith in the treetop village of Alula, where he suspects she runs her operation. So, let's retcon. Shall we? Let's say that our heroes from Alula. This is why they have been contacted in the first place. Yeah. So our heroes are from Alula. This is why they've been contacted in the first place. They have been tasked and brought in to the So how have our heroes been contacted? Where does our story begin? Story begins in a tavern. It does begin in a tavern in the town of Low Passage, which is about midway through between Alula, where our heroes are from, where their origins are, and haven itself. We're not meeting with Spymaster Creer. Spymaster Creel Dern. We are instead meeting with a representative Creel. Individual who we will call take some notes. Let's meet with our party here. We're going to meet with a individual known as Simrock and Lee. Simrock is in a booth at the back of a tavern in the town of Low Passage, and is sitting there as Soot and Shade, who are they're fawn-like in appearance, but instead of being goat-like, they are more rabbit-like. Rabbit ears and horns like a jackalope, and bunny tails, if you were to see their tails, which you can't because they're dressed at the moment. Bunny tails and long, strong, bunnyish legs. So they are kind of anamorphic jackalopes, supposed to be goat-like. So they enter this, they're short in stature. Soot is somewhat taller than his sister Shade. Both of them kind of grayish, blackish fur, white-tipped ears, very clearly related. They look very similar to each other. And they walk into this and look about. Murmur to each other. Shade, quicker and more forward of the two, so she indicates that they need to walk back to this table at the back of the room, where she recognizes by description what Simrock Unli looks like. Simrock is a elvish individual. They are, I would say, look to be maybe about 30-ish. Ears with, a great many decorative rings. Dressed in plain clothes. They don't really stand out as being particularly finely or poorly dressed, just sort of plain, rugged traveling clothes. They're sitting at the table with a tankard of beer in front of them as Soot and Shade. So they look up as these two lagomorphs sit. Greet them and introduce themselves. Don't introduce themselves, but just look at them and gesture for them to sit down. Are you the team that has responded to our request for adventurers or for task to be done? And Shade kind of takes the lead here. And yes, that's us. What is the situation? What is it that you need being done? Just curious. And Simrock will explain. He'll explain the whole situation. He will tell them about the Fane Wraith. They will tell them about the Fane Wraith and explain that our concern, my patron's concern, is that if the sowing eye is plucked out of the great owl, that it's just going to take this bad situation that we're already in and make it worse. The eternal growth is bad, but would it be any better if there were no growth at all? We have no idea what the implications of this are if the Fane Wraith is to succeed. But we suspect that they will be bad. But where do we come in? Well, we believe that the Fane Wraith is hiding out in the village of... I should be able to remember these things, but I can't. Alula, which is where you're from, yes? Yes. We're hoping that your ability, your vocal contacts back from your home village will allow you to search them out, find them, and give us the information as to how to perhaps even infiltrate their organization. So, this is bad. We agree. But what's in it for us? And Simrock silently say, well, silently just put 2 bags of gold on the table. So a bag of gold is a lot of gold for these kids, each of whom only has, at the moment, a handful of gold. Go ahead and mark that on their sheets, actually. I forgot to do that earlier. They each have gold. Each have 2 hope. We've started this. You fear. Did I just... I did. Somehow I dropped a fear. Oh well. Oh. Okay. That's better. Okay. So, well, we've dropped a fear. So I'm going to find that, because if I don't find it right now, never, ever go. Let's just fade to black for a moment here. And we're back. Hello. Okay, so oh heck. Think a roll. Shade looks at the two bags of gold that are set in front of her on this table. And asks, so who is this boss, this benefactor that you are bringing us this deal on behalf of? And we're not really interested in, you're coming and asking us to possibly work against our home. How do we know that what your intentions are, who you're working for? And Simrock, we'll say, has a difficulty of, let's say 14. Let's make our first roll. Simrock is going to say in response, that's information you don't need, but I assure you, this is in the best interests of Fainwick. One dice. Where's my fear die? Where is it? It's here. Aha. And let's see if we can detect any lies here. We will make an instinct roll. Say that it's going to be Shade's roll, although she has worse instinct, so let's make it Soot. Going to observe this, but as the witch is a little bit more hesitant. That is a 12, a 13, 14. I think we said 14 was the difficulty for this roll. So on a 14 with fear, Soot recognizes and kind of gives a subtle gesture to Shade that they're not sure that they believe this person. That this is in the best interests of Fainwick. And it's just going to say flat out, are you working for Haven? Simrock says, well, perhaps I am, but it doesn't matter, does it? After all, if the Fainwraith succeeds in removing Sowing Eye from the Great Owl, isn't that going to bother you just as much as it's going to bother anyone else? What do you think's going to happen? Soot, being a witch, has a definite connection to the natural world. We're just going to roll knowledge roll to see if they know anything about it. +1. We'll say on a 10 or better, we can get a grip on what we think the consequences of such a thing would be. All right. I'm just rolling to get myself. Let's be real. There we go. That was a 12. So on a 12, I think Soot can kind of see that this would definitely set the world out of balance. And on the higher instinct roll that he rolled earlier, I think we can see that Soot is aware that there's a certain honesty to this mysterious stranger offering them money in a bar. That the story that they're telling is true. The concerns that they have are genuine. And the gold that they have is real. Soot and Shade look at each other and are like, we need a minute to discuss this. Zimrock says, well, I'll just go up to the bar and get us another round, and you kids just chat all you want. And have a bit of a back and forth at this point. Say that Soot is turns to Shade and is like, you know, I think this person, Zimrock, is an agent of Haven. But that doesn't mean that they're wrong. I don't like it. I don't think that we should be working for the invaders, do you? Well, their money's good. Their intentions seem to be good. If they're telling the truth, if their information is correct, then this is in everybody's best interest and we can put some coin in our pocket. Do we need coin? I mean, do we need it that badly? I mean, times are very weird. We need everything we can get. Besides, maybe we can play this both ways. Maybe we find out that this Fane Wraith is not doing what the Zimrock thinks they're doing, and we can take the opportunity to put a little money in our pocket and warn our side. Okay. I can see that. So, after a little bit of discussion, Zimrock comes back. We're going to take this handful of gold, or this bag of gold that has been offered. Gonna get a bag of gold just to start out with. Yeah. And we're gonna take the job. So we're gonna leave that scene. And we're going to start walking across the Fanewick from, from this town of Low Passage down to the town of Alula. So this is where we will open our next scene. So this scene fades. We open a scene in the woods as we're walking. And don't have my big collection of D12s with me right now, so can't do my typical D12 adventuring roll, but I don't have to because I've got fear to spend. So I think that as we're walking, so in this world, day and night last for an hour each, a week each. 7 days of day, 7 days of night. I assume extremely long sunsets and sunrises, perhaps lasting a full day for the sun to completely rise and a full day for the sun to completely set, or something along those lines. Perhaps only several hours, but much longer than 7 times longer than a sunset takes. So 7 hours, 12 hours, something like that. 7 or 12 hours for a sunrise. So let's see. On a hope, it is coming into morning. On a fear, coming into evening. It's coming into evening. As we walk across as we open up, we see this amazing blaze of color stretching behind us. The woods darkening. There are bioluminescent flowers that are beginning to flicker into life. The buzzing as the nighttime insects begin their kind of chirping kind of sound is up. We have this fading in and out of nighttime insects beginning their evening chant. The blaze of light, fading sky behind us as Soot and Shade make their way along a trail heading towards their destination, the town of. The Fanewick has become, it's never been super safe. It's always been kind of a wild place. But since the beginning of the Witherwild, it's become much more dangerous. Creatures that would avoid humans have now become dangerous and aggressive foes. The soldiers of Haven have displaced many people from their homes, leading to extended banditry in the woods. And for once, our heroes have anything at all in their pockets that might be worth stealing and anything at all that might be worth worrying about. So let's set upon them. And let's go with so let's talk about battle points. How many battle points do we have to spend here? So according to the SRD and according to the book, have SRD, it's just easier. I don't have room for a book here. According to our battle guide, we have a number of points to spend. That is 3 times the number of PCs in combat plus 2, which in this case would give us 8 points to spend. 8 points, and we would spend 4 points for a bruiser, 5 points for a solo, 3 points for a leader, 2 points for a horde, range, skulk, or standard adversary. I've never run these characters before. I want to introduce us with a more basic and simple fight. So let's have us fight against let's look at some tier 1 adversaries here. Okay. I did not clearly think this out when I was trying to come up with ways. work. Berries. We are going to face off against Tenant. Who has 6 hit points. 3 stress. We will bring in... If we bring in a knee breaker, that's going to be 8 points, and I don't want to quite get up to that. So let's bring in 2 bandits. Bring us up to 6 points total. So as we're walking through the trees, we, the viewer, see sitting in the trees, kind of hidden, one on each side, 2 figures. We will have them be Simia. There are 2 Simia sitting in the trees. Each of them is holding a dagger. They are crouched low and hidden. Standing behind a tree is the bandit leader. Bandit leader will step out from behind the tree. Say, oh, hello there. Pleasant evening, isn't it? Soot and Shade look about. We're going to see if they spot our bandits' trees. Difficulty 12, instinct check. We'll just give this one to Soot. We'll spend a hope shade to give advantage. Oh my. That's a terrible roll. You can't see it, but that's a 1. That's a 3. For the total of 6 with fear. So no, we do not see the 2 bandits in the trees. Are in fact oblivious to this being a dangerous situation at all. So they say, it's a nice evening, and they kind of try to move around this figure in the middle, but that the bandit steps back in front of them and says, dangerous to wander through the woods at night. It seems like you 2 could use some protection. No, we're fine. Thank you. Shade talking. She is the more forward and more social of the 2, so... No, we're fine. Let's, we'll just be in our... And they start to move again, and the bandits... I don't think you understand. You need to... you definitely need my protection, and my protection does not come free. And this is the point where we realize that we're being robbed. Soot steps back, Shade steps back. They're both unfamiliar with this situation. They have not been... they haven't been robbed before. They're carrying more than they usually do. They look at each other and... the lieutenant at this point continues to stand relaxed and is, I mean, I'm not asking for much. And let's see, let's give him a roll. I just want to see if he can kind of tell how much money he got on him. Does he spot the bags of gold? We'll roll this against their evasion. We'll spend a fear. Use his experience of local knowledge. That's a 2. He doesn't know how much they have on them. But looking at their clothes and looking at them over, he thinks, barely worth robbing these kids. Probably only have a handful of gold each, so he's going to ask them. Says, that's just going to cost you about a handful of gold apiece to walk by. So... see, what have I got? I'm going to say that Shade is going to say, we'd love to help you, but we do not have any money. I'm going to attempt to lie to the bandit. Say that they have no money. And spend their last hope. Spend Shade's last hope as she is going to attempt to lie about having any money. Using her domain card, Deft Deceiver. Spend 1 hope to advantage to lie or trick. So, I'm going to try to trick this Jagged Light Knife Lieutenant. Difficulty is 13. Persuade them that they don't have any. That, my friends, critical success. We get our hope back. We would clear a stress if we had a stress. And at this point, though, the lieutenant is not to be, is convinced that they don't have any cash on them, but is like, well, actually, I mean, that's a critical success, and you gotta honor the crit, right? You absolutely have to. And so, although I had this planned as a combat, I don't think it breaks down that way. I think that this lieutenant, this kind of, he's kind of, he's a seems to be predominantly orcish man, tall, imposing, big tusks, but forced to a life of banditry from a kind of state of desperation. Like, well, what do you have? You don't have any money. Do you at least have some food? Can you give me some? You have rations, supplies? And they do, of course. They have. One of them has a minor stamina potion. One of them has a minor health potion. I forgot to add their inventory. You know, they have some basic supplies. They have some basic food. So Shade will just say, well, I mean, we're happy to share a meal with you. Just give me all your food. So it says, we can't give you all of our food. We can't go hungry all the way to Journey. Come on, man. Let's... You know, can we just be on our way? We've already told you we don't have any money. Soot's saying that. Unfortunate. Because Soot has very low presence, but we'll see if a presence roll, if they can convince this guy. Now that they've convinced him they have no money, I'll give him advantage because they have no money. Disadvantage off of that previous critical. To just basically convince this guy to leave them alone. Okay. That's a 22 with fear. So they persuade the Jackknife Lieutenant to leave them alone and continue on their way. You gotta honor the rolls, man. It does cost Soot a stress. To make this conversation happen. But they will be on their way. What am I going to do with all this fear? Sitting here with 5 fear. I got to do something. I won't need these stat blocks anymore. So they proceed upon their way. They will spend an evening. We're not going to take a rest. We will say that they move on and they're talking. They're feeling confident. They're feeling happy about, like, can't believe we managed to convince that guy. Any. You know, this kind of banded captain is, you know, frustratedly returns to the trees to see if he can wait for his next potential victims. Angry and frustrated that there's no profit to be had on the road tonight. Really wanted to run a combat. What else could we possibly run into? What are some other adversaries we have? Yeah. Okay. I'm going to spend a fear. And as they're setting up camp for the night, they begin to, you know, they're looking for a place to camp. They are doing their thing, taking out their bedrolls, you know, setting up, and and then from under the ground next to them will erupt acid burrow. Horse-sized insect with digging claws. Acidic blood. And let's just run at least one combat just because I want to run a combat today. I want to see how these characters do in combat. And we're coming kind of close to the end of like what I would consider to be an broadcasting. That's all I want to do. So, Soot and Shade begin setting up camp. They are distracted by their encounter that they had earlier with the bandits. They're distracted by the thing that they're doing, this task that they have, found themselves kind of roped into. They don't notice what they should notice, which are the telltale signs that there is this creature nearby. And erupting from the earth behind them is a gigantic horse-sized insect. Huge pincers. Pops up out of the ground and going to mark a stress. And they will be making separate agility reaction. So this is for Soot, agility of +0. 16, which is a pass. Shade with an agility of +1. That is a 18-19, which is a pass. So they, Soot and Shade are distracted, yes, but this is their kids of this. They're kids of this particular world. They have run into such things before, so they are able to spring back out of the way. Hissing monstrosity leaps up and grabs them. You can. This is. They are relentless. I'm going to activate them a second time. They are going to make an attack against all targets within close range. Both of our characters have an evasion of 11. Guy is +3 to attack. That is a 16. Let's use a different die, one that goes up better. But anyway, it's a 16, which is a strike. So that succeeds on both of them, and they will take 1d12 +2 physical damage. Here's our d12. They will each take 6. They will each take 8 damage. They have to mark an armor without receiving its effects. What are our damage thresholds? Oh. Damage thresholds for these guys are 7. Oh. No, sorry, this one is 2d6 damage. That's 11 physical damage. They have to each mark an armor slot without receiving its benefits. They will each just take the hit point. They're each vulnerable. And then we will. They will. It then moves into very close range. It will attack Shade or Soot, even or odd. Odd. Soot They will take a swing at Soot with their claws. Let's go ahead and spend another fear to activate them for that. (10) plus 3 is 13. Soot's evasion is 11. That's a hit. They take 1d12 plus 2 physical damage. 5, 6, 7. We will mark an armor slot to reduce that to minor. And that is a pretty savage strike against them. Now, play goes back to our heroes. Shade is going to act first. Shade is going to leap backwards to close range. They can do, I believe... Let me look up real quick, Caprine Leap. As though you were using normal movement. So we're going to attempt to move to far distance. This environment is, let's say, 12. So we'll attempt to make an agility roll to actually leap back and then move to far distance away from this thing. That is with hope. And that is a success. 12, 15, plus 1 for agility is a 16. I'm going to move back to far distance and going to make a blighting strike at far range. Against the acid burrower. Okay, so difficulty 14. We are making a blighting strike, which is a spellcast roll. And our spellcast is presence, which is +2. They are intending to, I'm going to spend a hope on their ability protective, their experience of protective. They're attempting to protect Soot. I'll spend a hope, get another +2 on this, so this is +4 total. Okay, we get our hope back. That is a 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. With hope. This does D6 damage. Oh, you gotta be kidding. 1 damage. So that marks 1. Burrower did not take severe damage, so their acid bath doesn't take effect. But Soot, and Shade just made her move, Soot is going to make his move and is also going to attempt to leap back with agility, and is going to burn a hope on look over there to get +2 on this roll because Soot's agility is 0. Like I said, this is a 12 difficulty environment, so 6, 7, we at least get our hope back. We leap back to close range, but we remain in close range. Because we failed, we come back to me. Burrower is going to move back into close range with Soot and is going to strike with their claw. That is definitely a hit. 18. They do 1d12 damage. 3 plus 2 is 5. Soot is going to mark their last. Going to mark his last armor slot to take no damage. looking great for Soot here. I'm going to spend a fear to activate again and make another strike. 12, which hits. That is for 8 damage, which is major damage. Soot is badly injured. I am going to make... Acid Burrower can be activated 3 times. I'm going to activate the Acid Burrower again to make another strike. That is a 7. Plus 3 is 10, which misses. So, the Acid Burrower comes in. They make 1 strike. Slams a claw into Soot. Slams another claw into Soot. Goes to swing again, so it leaps back out of the way and is going to use their dual staff. First, they're going to try to get some distance between them and the Acid Burrower. There's nothing else they can do. They're just going to try to move to far range. We'll spend a hope on look over there. To try to get, so see if Soot can something happen here. First, they're going to mark a stress. He's going to mark a stress X this creature and reduce their difficulty. So first, I'm going to attack with the dual staff. Difficulty. So the difficulty is now 13. This is a... We'll spend a hope on unforgiving. We'll say we're going to make an I'm unforgiving of this creature. Soot is a witch, very dedicated to the natural world. But is not forgiving this creature. So this is a instinct of 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. That's a hit. And that will do 1d6 plus 3 damage. 6 damage. One more on our creature. And then in an attempt to distract the creature, Shade is going to make their move. Attack as well. Attacking this time using... Oh, I forgot. The reason I did Blighting Strike was because damage from this creature is reduced by a d6 on their next attack. Let me roll a d6 here real quick. Actually, I don't. I'll just do it on the next attack that the creature makes. So in this case, we're not going to do that. We are going to, from far range, strike with the scepter. So Shade, Soot is kind of closed in with this creature and strikes out with his dual staff. Shade, from a distance, takes her scepter, points it at the creature, invokes their patron Labora, sends a jet of energy forward. And misses with fear. That's unfortunate. Soot is there. it's our creature's turn again. They're just going to keep swinging. And on a 20, that is 12 plus, and it doesn't matter if damage is just reduced. Well, let's see. That's 12. That's one strike. That is severe damage. Soot goes down. Creature forward, strike out at Shade. The hit. That is for major damage. You know, I thought when I started this campaign that these guys were going to be fragile, but I didn't think they were going to be this fragile. They have done no damage to this creature. But it's Shade's turn again. Shade is going to make an agility roll to try to get to Soot's side. Difficulty 12. Spend a hope on protective. Get a +2 on this, so this is rolling at +3. They're trying to get to their side. That's a critical, so we get our hope back. We administer a minor health potion. Clearing 2 hit points from Soot. Turns. So with Soot back on his feet, Jade basically suggests that they run. So they're going to attempt to run. I will say that Soot has to make an attempt to run well to get to far range. Spending a hope. I know I should have done that first. But they have such low agility that they need that hope. Look over there. So they send a jet of energy with their dual staff, not trying to strike the creature, but just trying to distract the creature. Are able to get over there. I will gain a fear. That's a failure with fear. The creature is going to attempt to close with them. It has to make an agility roll to get the far distance. It does not. So our 2 rabbits, we close the scene with our 2 rabbits grabbing their packs off the ground because they hadn't quite managed to set up camp yet, and leaping out into the forest, bounding away with their caprine leaps, with the great leaps of their back legs, springing forth and hoping to live another day. And that's where we're going to close the session of Rolling Solo. So sorry about spiking the sound there real quick there just a moment ago. My apologies. But that was fun. What have we learned? We've learned that, in fact, witches and warlocks are made of glass. My last character that I had was a brawler and absolutely would have stomped this thing into the ever-loving ground, but not the case with these 2. So we're down 1 minor health potion. We are up 2 bags of gold. We are making our way to Alula, and we will open next time with leveling up. So, thank you very much for watching. I hope that you had some fun. I will see you next time. In the meantime, keep rolling.